dozens of rioters who broke into the Capitol building and vandalized it, caused all sorts of chaos, and threatened the lives of members of Congress are now being arrested. And there's one person in particular that I'm overjoyed about getting arrested because he was seen with flexi cuffs on the House floor. He's been identified. His name is Larry Rendell Brock Jr., and he's a retired lieutenant colonel and combat veteran, which is pretty terrifying. Now, of course, if you have these flexi cuffs in your hand, obviously you intended to use them for something, particularly members of Congress who were trying to certify the Electoral College votes. He denies that, though. He denies that that's why he has them in his hand. Let me give you the details on what he did say, according to the New Yorker. He says that the president asked for his supporters to be there to attend, and I felt like it was important because of how much I love this country to actually be there. I mean, he loves the country so much that he is willing to help dismantle our democratic process to ensure that someone who was not democratically elected serves another 4 years, possibly indefinitely. Because Donald Trump apparently is his daddy, and he's willing to undo what this country stands for just to keep him in office. Now, he was asked why he was holding zip ties, and he claimed that he happened to find them on the House floor and he picked them up. He wasn't planning on using them. It's just such a joke. He tells the New Yorker this: I wish I had not picked those up. My thought process there was I would pick them up and give them to an officer when I see one. Now, there's a reason why I think he's a massive liar. Brock can also be seen on a video from ITV News exiting Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office suite with a group of insurrectionists known to have been inside. Brock denied this allegation in conversations with the New Yorker, saying he stopped 5 to 10 feet short of the offices when others entered. So he lied about that. And I would venture to guess that he also lied about why he had the flexi cuffs in his hands, which is terrifying, Francesca, when you think about what they intended to do when they were there.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I've been thinking a lot about and sort of wondering if the tune would change from some of these Republicans had someone actually been taken hostage or even killed. I mean, 5 people were killed, including Capitol Police officers, but let's say a lawmaker were killed, right? What they consider important, at least Republicans. I don't think much would have changed. I think they would have found a way to excuse it again and still, oh, it's a tragedy, soul searching and all the things we've heard. But this guy, a former Army lieutenant, showing up in full tactical gear, looking like, just like oh gosh, now I'm gonna forget the movie. Like the American, oh man, what's the one with the puppets? The troopers, Ameritroopers. You know what I'm saying? The ones
Team America World.
Team America, dude. He looks like a Team America puppet. Thank you, Brett. And he's rolling in there, and now he's trying to feign innocence. No, you knew exactly what you were doing. You knew exactly what you were preparing for. And I feel like quick follow-up question. So did you also get a selfie on the lectern? And he's like, nah, man, I missed that. like these people are at once terrifying and so ridiculous that I understand. Anna, you've been talking about sort of how could anyone not take this seriously? I understand because the packaging is so stupid, because these guys are playing, like wannabe, Fallujah or wherever they think they are that they're not and should never have been in the first place. But like, it is quite serious. And the fact that they represent so many more people who maybe weren't able to fly out or who were crowdfunding the money for it. Yeah, we've got a bunch of right-wing goofballs on our hands and they're armed.
I wish they were just goofballs, but they're incredibly dangerous people. You're right, they're armed. One thing that I don't want us to miss is how Lauren Beaubert, who's a far right extremist who just got elected into Congress. She's from Colorado. She was sharing details about where members of Congress, specifically where Nancy Pelosi was, as these rioters were in the building, as they were in the building. So there needs to be a full-blown investigation into what she was intending to do there by live tweeting details about where these lawmakers were in order to secure them, to make sure that they're safe as this was going down.
That is insane. First of all, that the idea that she was live tweeting where other Congress people were at, or was like, and then the other thing, there's one other detail I don't think we've mentioned. Look, Jim Clyburn has said that rioters found his unmarked office and that there was no way that they would have known where it was. Like, how do you know where it is? Because it had no plaque, it had no identification. So clearly they had a map or someone gave them. I mean, I don't even think there was a map of it, but like someone told them where Clyburn's office was. So you're right, they're not goofballs. They have huge backing. We just talked about the current lawmakers who are assisting them.
Yeah, exactly. 14th Amendment. So let me give you some more details about other arrests that took place. I'm sure many of you remember the horned individual who was pictured in many images. There he is. So if you're wondering whether that guy got arrested, he did. His name is Jacob Chansley, also known as Jake and Jelly. He's from Arizona and he's been arrested. He actually turned himself into the FBI. Others who were arrested include Adam Johnson of Florida, Derek Evans of West Virginia. And remember, these were people who felt emboldened enough to engage in this criminality with their faces like in full view. Like they did not think that they would suffer any consequences for what they engaged in. So identifying them is incredibly easy. In regard to the guy with the flexi cuffs, he had a patch on his jacket or something that revealed who he was. So he was identified using facial recognition technology and by evaluating the patches he was wearing. One of the patches he was wearing was the 706th Fighter Squadron patch. And so piecing together these details made it easy for investigators to figure out who these people are. And yeah, they're now going to hopefully suffer the consequences for what they did. Like it's important for people to be held accountable. It's important because if we have this system that seems to only brutalize certain people who want to speak truth to power when it comes to police brutality, when it comes to this two-tier justice system, when it comes to legitimate issues that we have in our broken system, like for them to suffer consequences and then to have these people just willy-nilly breach the Capitol building and not suffer consequences, that is an issue. That shows that there are some people who are untouchable in this country, that they can literally do whatever they want, including engage in a violent mob riot in the Capitol building that threatens the lives of Congress members. And if there are no consequences, they'll do it again and again and again, and it'll get worse every single time. And I'm not trying to fearmonger here. This is the truth. We've seen the Republican Party and Republican voters get more extreme in their tactics throughout the years. Yeah. And the reason why is because there'll be some finger wagging, and then aside from that, nothing.
I mean, this is going to be interesting in the next, few months to see what the fallout is from these everyday / not so everyday people. I know folks have already lost their jobs. Good, bye. But what about the police officers? What about the former police officers? What about what are the consequences there? Will there be misdemeanors or are these actually going to be federal felonies, right? This is not just trespassing. You can't just charge these people with trespassing, right? They had absolutely every intention to harm and would have harmed lawmakers if they found them or if the directive from their overlord had come in time. So once again, this is the same building where peaceful activists who were asking for their Medicaid to not be cut, in wheelchairs, living with disabilities, have been hauled out by all of their limbs. So the way that we treat protesters in this country, and there's part of me that's kind of salty. I'm like, wow, you just thought you could waltz in there. Oh, you did just waltz in there and you didn't get arrested 4 hours. Wow, okay. it boggles the mind, but it, like everything else about this presidency, it flaunts what we've always known to be true, which is that white privilege and white supremacy and male privilege and male supremacy are incredibly real and are not going anywhere, and that there's a lack of accountability on all of it.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.